You are 40 years old. You look at your savings, you look at your investments, and maybe the number is not what you thought it would be by now. Maybe there is no portfolio, maybe there is some debt. Maybe you have spent years telling yourself, I'll get serious soon. And now soon has become 40. That is the moment a lot of people start asking the question they are almost afraid to answer. Is it too late? Did I miss the wealth building window? Did everyone else start the game while I was still figuring life out? The honest answer is this. Starting at 40 is not early, but it is also not over. The real danger is not being 40. The real danger is being 40, feeling behind, and then waiting until 50. Because at 40, you still have time, but you do not have time to drift, and that is the difference. When you are 25, you can make mistakes for a few years and still have decades to recover. When you are 40, every year starts to matter more. Not because you should panic. Panic usually creates bad decisions, but because your money needs a direction now. Not someday, not when life becomes perfect. Now. Most people think building wealth after 40 is only about making more money. And yes, income matters. A higher income can make the path much easier. But wealth is not built by income alone. Wealth is built by the gap between what comes in and what goes out. If you earn $4,000 a month and spend $4,000, your wealth building gap is zero. If you earn $10,000 a month and spend $10,000, your gap is still zero. That is why some people make more money in their 40s than ever before, but still feel broke. Their income rises, but their lifestyle rises with it. A bigger house, a nicer car, more convenience, more subscriptions, more family expenses, more I deserve it spending. And none of it feels crazy. It feels normal. It feels earned. But if every raise becomes a new payment, your future never gets funded. So the first lesson is simple. At 40, your income matters, but your gap matters more. That gap is where the wealth gets built. Now, let's talk about the part everyone worries about. Time. If you start investing at 20, time does a lot of the heavy lifting. You can invest smaller amounts for longer. The money has more years to grow. Compounding has more room to work. But if you start at 40, you still have 25 years before age 65. Maybe more if you work longer. 25 years is not nothing. It is long enough for a completely different financial life. But the math changes, because when you have less time, you usually need more contribution. That is not meant to discourage you. It is just the trade-off. There are three main levers in wealth building: how much you invest, how long you invest, and how your money grows. If one lever is smaller, another lever needs to become stronger. If you have less time, you may need to invest more. If you cannot invest more, you may need to grow income. If your income cannot grow quickly, you may need to control spending more carefully. There is no magic here, but there is a path. For example, imagine someone starts at 40 with zero invested. If they invest $500 a month for 25 years and their money averages around 7% per year over the long term, they could end up with roughly $400,000 by 65. That is not 1 million, but it is also not nothing. It is a serious asset. Now, if that person invests $1,000 a month under the same simple example, the result could be around $800,000. And at around $1,200 to $1,250 a month, the path to 1 million becomes possible in that same 25-year window. Not guaranteed, markets do not move in a straight line. Fees, taxes, inflation, behavior, and investment choices all matter. But this example shows something important. At 40, building wealth is still possible. But vague effort will not be enough. You need a system. And the system starts with one question. What can you consistently invest without destroying your life? Not what sounds impressive. Not what someone online says you should do. What can you actually repeat? Because the plan you follow for 25 years beats the perfect plan you quit after 3 months. This is where many people make the wrong move. They feel late, so they try to catch up fast. They chase risky investments, they buy into hype, they follow strangers promising huge returns. They think, I don't have time to be slow. But if you are starting at 40, protecting your money matters even more. Because losing 5 years to a bad decision can hurt more when your runway is shorter. You do not need a miracle. You need consistency. You need a higher savings rate. You need fewer money leaks, you need a simple investment plan you understand, and you need to avoid the big mistakes that can reset your progress. High interest debt, lifestyle creep, panic selling, trying to look rich, investing in things you do not understand. These can be more dangerous than starting late, because starting late slows you down. But bad decisions can send you backwards. Now here is the good news. Starting at 40 also has advantages. You may know yourself better. You may earn more than you did at 25. You may be tired of repeating the same patterns. You may have more discipline because the stakes feel real. At 25, money can feel theoretical. At 40, it feels personal. You can see the cost of waiting. You can feel what happens when money has no direction. That awareness can become fuel. A 22-year-old has time, but a 40-year-old can have urgency. And urgency, when it is calm and focused, can be powerful. The key is to use urgency to build a system, not to panic. So what does that system look like? First, you need to know your numbers, not guess. Know how much comes in, how much goes out, what are your fixed costs? What debts are draining you? What subscriptions or habits are quietly leaking money? How much can you actually invest every month? This step is not exciting, but it is where control begins, because a problem you can see is a problem you can solve. A problem you avoid keeps controlling you. Second, you need to attack expensive debt. Not all debt is the same. A mortgage is different from credit card debt. A business loan is different from random consumer debt, but high-interest debt can destroy your wealth path because it works against you every month. When you invest, compounding can work for you. When you carry expensive debt, compounding can work against you. So before you try to become an investing genius, make sure debt is not quietly eating your future. Third, you need to build a safety layer. An emergency fund does not sound exciting, but it protects the plan. Without cash, every surprise becomes debt. A car repair, a medical bill, a job problem, a broken appliance. One emergency can force you to sell investments, use credit cards, or stop contributing. A safety layer gives your money path stability, and stability is what allows growth to continue. Fourth, you need to automate investing. At 40, you cannot rely on whatever is left at the end of the month. There may be nothing left. The money needs to move first, every payday, every month, automatically. This is how you stop negotiating with yourself. If you wait until you feel motivated, your future depends on your mood. Automation makes the plan stronger than your mood. Fifth, you need to increase contributions over time. Maybe you cannot invest $1,200 a month today. That does not mean the path is closed. Start with what you can, then increase it. Every raise, every bonus, every debt you pay off, every expense you cut, part of that money should be redirected to your future before lifestyle creep takes it. This is how people change their path, not by becoming perfect overnight, but by turning every improvement into more momentum. The sixth step is to think beyond investing. At 40, building wealth may also mean increasing earning power, learning a higher value skill, negotiating salary, changing roles, starting a side income, building a small business, using experience as leverage. A 20-year-old may have more time, but a 40-year-old may have knowledge, contacts, credibility, and skill. Those are assets too, not in a brokerage account, but in your ability to earn. And higher earning power can make the investing path much faster. Now, can everyone who starts at 40 become a millionaire? Not automatically. It depends on income, expenses, health, family responsibilities, debt, market returns, and how consistent the plan is. But the better question is not only, can I become a millionaire? The better question is, can I become much more financially secure than I am today? And for many people, the answer is absolutely yes, because wealth is not only the final number, it is having less debt, more assets, more savings, more control, more options, less panic, a better system, a calmer life. If you start at 40 and build for 25 years, your future can look completely different from your present, but only if you stop waiting. That is the real decision. One version of you reaches 50 still saying, I need to get serious. Another version reaches 50 with 10 years of investing behind them, 10 years of better habits, 10 years of lower debt, 10 years of learning, 10 years of progress. Those two versions are not the same person financially, and they are created by what you do now. So if you are 40 and feel behind, do not turn regret into paralysis. Regret can teach you, but it cannot build for you. The money you did not invest at 25 is gone. The habits you did not build earlier are gone. But the next 25 years are not gone. They are still open. And the worst thing you can do is let the pain of starting late become the reason you never start at all. Because time will pass either way. You will be 50 either way. You will be 60 either way. The only question is whether something is growing while the years pass. Your savings, your investments, your skills, your income, your discipline, your financial confidence. Starting at 40 is not the easy path, but it is still a path. And a path you start walking today is infinitely better than the perfect path you keep planning for someday.